Hi, Malika.
Hi, Harley.
Hello, everybody listening.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Sonder Salt, the weekly food podcast about the magic of eating. We haven't done our ASMR episode yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
Let us know on Instagram if you want ASMR.
If you can see how Harley's head looks right now.
I look a lot like that clip with Ryan where I was going, avocado.
Yeah, that's how you look. Yeah.
Oh.
This is the vibes for the ASMR.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Is it going to be
That might be
rated
a pinch of
appropriately?
salt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if all the listeners are going to want to hear that. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm hot.
Yeah, we're having a bit of a late summer in the UK.
Some
We are
kind of
well into September right now.
September heat wave.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not gonna complain, but it's just not the right time of the year.
Like,
it's a couple months too late.
Also, I feel like I was starting to make investments into an autumn winter wardrobe, and now I've run out of clothes.
I packed all my summer clothes away, so
Yeah.
now I have to keep trying to take stuff out.
Yes.
And that's annoying me.
Or I keep picking stuff up because it's what's in the shops, but then I can't actually wear
Yeah, the
it.
seasons have changed in
that
the
week.
shops. Yeah.
We're spending too much time together. We've been doing a lot of work this week for our evening with Sonder and Salt.
Yes, very, very busy making moves.
Making moves. That is coming up. If you are not aware, we are having an event, an evening with Sonder and Salt, on the 5th of October at Camden Roundhouse Bar and Cafe. The ticket link is linked in the show notes. It is also in our Instagram bio. We're sharing it often on all the platforms. So find it there. If you can't, just message us. We'll send it to you.
Yeah, well, we will if there's tickets left because they're going very fast. So that's all I'm going to say on that.
You're moving like a rave promoter.
No, literally, don't fumble. No, real talk. Eventbrite said it wasn't me. Literally said going fast,
It
very
is
popular.
real talk. Okay, it is
Yeah.
real talk. I just don't want to sound like Kylie Jenner. Like, oh my God, out of stock.
Boy,
Restock
if
coming soon.
No, if it sells out, there's no more tickets.
Yeah.
That like
We do have a limited capacity at the venue,
Yeah.
and as it stands, like, this is over 50%. We were
Yeah.
50% last week, like
exactly.
within 5 days, 6 days. So yeah, don't dull,
Don't fumble the bag
don't dull.
because it's gonna be such a nice night. It's gonna be so
We've been
cute.
grafting.
Yeah.
If you're catching clips of this on Instagram or over on YouTube, yeah, we look tired.
But I don't look tired. I look cute. Anyways.
I look tired. Anyway.
Anyways.
Thank you very much to everyone who's bought a ticket. Thank you to each and every one of you who listens to this podcast who can't join us because we are being listened to in 80 plus countries.
Yeah.
If you are loving this podcast as much as we enjoy making it for you, do not forget to leave a rating and review, 5 stars only, on Apple Podcasts, where you can write us a little paragraph, let us know. You can write in your review, like, can't make the event, but love the podcast.
Exactly.
There you go. I practically wrote one for you.
And let us know where you are writing the review as well.
Yeah,
so we can give you a shout out.
Where are you listening from? We are definitely still keen to put faces and names to data.
Exactly.
Data that we have on the back end. On Spotify, you can hit where the star rating is and leave a 5-star rating and review.
Only.
Right there. We like to share the written reviews over on our other social media platforms, so we definitely read every single one of them.
Exactly.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. So what have you been eating, Harley? What have you been up to?
Food highlights.
Well, yeah, what is your food highlight
Right,
of the week?
Sorry, this week is a food low light.
Low light,
It's a food low light. We have an episode called The Magic of M&S Food.
Oh my gosh. Are you calling them out?
We are big M&S fans here on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's been a situation.
If it's going to be about corned beef, I don't want to hear
It's
it.
not about corned beef.
Oh my God, what is it? Is the bakery, did they let us down?
M&S Food, my favourite product ever, the toffee and pecan shortbread rounds.
They've been discontinued.
They're gone. They're missing. This is a national
Wait, I thought this
emergency.
was a Christmas product.
No. So, the shortbread rounds come in these long rectangular boxes, and where they sit in the supermarket, there is a red box, which is just all butter shortbread. There is a blue box, which is chocolate chip shortbread, and then there is an orange box, which is a toffee pecan one.
Yeah.
I think you think they're a Christmas product because I discovered them at Christmas, and I
Okay.
like to eat them when
That
I'm
was
doing
the story you told.
when I'm doing my Christmas wrapping. I like to indulge in a box or two. But they are available all year round. They're not limited. They're not Christmas branded. They're nothing like that. They're gone. So I went into my local M&S a couple of weeks ago, perusing the aisles as I like to do.
As one does.
As one does. Went to pick up a little box, just, keep them in the
I
cupboard.
can't believe how invested I am in this.
And they were not there. So I was like, oh, okay. Sometimes it happens. Stock levels, lots of gaps. There were actually lots of gaps in the store, and it was
Okay.
quite late. It was about 5 p.m. I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. Went back about a week and a half ago. No, more than that. About 2 weeks ago. The space was gone.
Oh,
So
they've taken. They're not even merchandising
they're not even
it.
there. So the red box was there and the blue box was there.
Yeah.
The product was still there. I said, I'm not gonna raise any alarms yet. Maybe it's just my branch. You know, sometimes if you're not selling in a certain branch. I tried the Stratford Westfield M&S, which is quite a big branch. They recently rebranded it, so it should have the finest products in there. No shortbread toffee rounds. I tried the one that is in Ealing.
Did you ask a member of staff?
I didn't need to ask my I'm conducting my own research.
Well, they will check the system. Honey, this sounds like a waste of time. Did you ask a member of staff?
I have now DM'd them, but I am waiting a reply.
Why didn't you just ask the staff member? They can check on the system.
Well, I didn't know that. This is
Yeah.
besides the point. Anyway, checked in Ealing, I've checked in Canary Wharf, and then I had to text Maria because Maria's the one who really put me onto them in the beginning. And I said,
Yeah.
you've got to keep an eye out because I've not seen them. I'm waiting for my DM reply. But then upon further investigation, we went into one in Liverpool Street together. And we realised that M&S, the biscuits, they used to kind of be branded like this, right? They've rebranded to this kind of like stag looking for their Scottish products. And they've replaced the slot, which used to be the toffee and pecan shortbread rounds, with all butter shortbread toffee thins. As you can see, a new product.
Okay.
So I think this is what they've done.
Maybe. And they probably think most people think it's a like for like.
Well, they're wrong.
Well, yeah. But I think this could have been resolved sooner. If you ever go into a supermarket and you cannot find the product that you're looking for, they can check on the system and they can let you know.
Well, I've discovered for myself. However, M&S, if you're listening, if anyone from M&S is listening, I've moved on. Sainsbury's are selling a Taste the Difference maple and pecan shortbread rounds with crunchy pecan pieces for £2.25, and I'll be purchasing those this
Is it hitting
weekend.
though?
I haven't tried it yet. This is
Okay.
the pecan community have sent me this.
Okay. Who's that, Maria?
Yeah. And we're moving on because shortbread thins is nothing sacred.
Oh, shush. I can't cope with you. Anyway, are you done?
What the hell?
Are you done? Because this story could have been 5 minutes shorter had you just checked with a member of staff. I can't believe that you went up and down the UK checking different stores when they could have told you by checking on the system if the product even exists within the business anymore.
I did that. But I needed to know because I was scouring for the last few items.
But they would have been able to tell you there's like 2 units and so and so.
They wouldn't. I did that with John Lewis last week. They sent me to 3 different stores for something that was supposedly in the system.
Well, yeah, because it depends on the store accuracy.
Exactly. So I just went with my own eyes as I was.
But you know, sometimes you can call them. You can call like the local store and ask them to put it aside. And if they're nice enough, they will.
Well, now I know. So guys, if you ever fall in love with the food, either stockpile it. I would not recommend stockpile it. But just know that every time could
enjoy
be the last
it whilst
time.
it lasts. Yeah.
Every time could be the last
Enjoy
time
it.
in this cost of living crisis. Even the products, they're just limiting the thins.
They're probably cheaper to produce.
Yeah. Or it's the same cost, but you get less.
Yeah. Shrinkflation. Anyways.
Have you got a highlight this week, or is there more depressing news on your side?
Well, I'm changing my life. I'm putting a bit of focus on routine.
Right.
And whenever I feel like I need to get back into a routine and just establish a way of life, I tend to lean into meal prepping because I find it helpful for me.
Okay.
That generally means...
I think you discussed this before.
Yep. I think it was probably in the
Toxic
first
diet culture and our
the first
relationship with
episode of
food.
the year when I talked about meal prepping and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for me, it just helps to know, like, if I don't have to think too hard about what I'm going to eat, it's helpful. So typically when I'm meal prepping, there's some kind of grilled chicken, there's quinoa, and there's some kind of vegetable. So I've been having a lot of grilled chicken on my George Foreman. That's when I spoke about it as well in our kitchen appliances episode. You can find all of these episodes on sonderandsalt.com. You can search for them. So if you search kitchen appliances, that episode will come up. Toxic diet culture. That episode will come up and we talk about these things on there. But yeah, grilled chicken. I've been banging that out. Cooking my quinoa. I actually had a request from Instagram for me to show people how I cook my quinoa because apparently it looks really nice and like fluffy. So I'll probably try and do a reel about that. So yeah, I've been having that, but I've also been having it with a lot of sauteed carrots and courgettes. I love sauteed carrots and courgettes. And a bit of olive oil, salt, and some ground mixed peppercorns and like garlic granules. I eat that a lot. So I've been having that.
So one of your food highlights there was something that we're going to discuss today, which is seasonal vegetables. You've been eating lots of carrots and courgettes.
I have.
Have you been eating them because they're in season? Talk the truth.
Talk truth. What I've noticed in my local Sainsbury's is that when something is in season, how it's merchandised in the aisles makes it very clear to me that this is abundant and it's in season.
Okay.
So it's not always conscious, but because of how they merchandise it, I will gravitate and I'll be like, oh yeah, courgette. Oh, perfect. Let me just get a bunch of courgettes. So around this time of year, I naturally tend to eat more courgettes because where I shop, they merchandise it in that way. I do like to think I am a seasonal eater.
No, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
But you've just been picking them up because of potentially how they've been positioned in the store. Because I found myself eating a lot of carrots recently. And probably because of how they're positioned in the store, but also just because they look really good.
Yeah.
Like, they're positioning them there because they actually look good for once.
Yeah, the courgettes right now, banging, beautiful. They're big, they're juicy.
Looking incredible.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about seasonal food. But this is going to be a long-running forever series now. We're going to try and talk about the seasons as they arrive. Today we're going to be talking all about autumn as we move through September and into October, even though it is 25 degrees. But we're also going to talk today a lot about seasonal eating as a whole and just the season as a whole. Just as an introductory, we've not really spoken about seasonal eating before. So the next episodes of the seasons might have a little bit less. We might come back to this. So this is going to be our landmark episode about seasonal eating, I think. So I had to do a little bit of research about what is actually in season, because the issue that we have with seasonal food here in the UK is that we don't grow a lot of all of the foods that we eat.
Yeah.
We grow like range, but we don't necessarily grow the quantities that feed the UK.
We're very much like an import nation.
Yeah. So we grow pretty much all of the fruits and veg that are in season at the moment, because obviously our climate is most adjusted to autumn, but we don't grow enough of it to feed our country. So we end up importing a lot of it.
Yeah. And also I think it's good to note that we live in London and we are like first or second generation, whatever. And so a lot of the things that we have in our diet has to be imported.
Yeah,
it just definitely does not grow here.
That's true, actually. That's actually very true.
Yeah.
And actually, those foods won't even be on this list because they're not in the nationalfoodseasons.org.uk website, because that's written by UK food researcher or scientists or whatever, and that's what they pulled together. So take that with a pinch of salt, that the things that we're talking about in your culture, there may be more foods in season right now than...
This is British.
This is our British food season, basically. But another problem with the fact that, a problem with the fact that we import so much of our food means that we often don't know what's in season, because we have things available to us all year round. If we're not growing it, we'll get it from somewhere else, because even when we are growing it, we have to get it from somewhere else.
Do you know what, on that point, so right now at work, one of the conversations that we're having was about lettuce quality, and we had some feedback come through just about the quality of the lettuce, and obviously they go away, they investigate, and what the root cause of that issue was that there's a change in where the lettuce is coming from, because one place is no longer in season, and so to keep the production going, they have to get it from another place where it is in season. But it means that there is a crossover period where there seems to be a difference in quality. That we have this continuous, where especially in this kind of nation that we live in, places like America and the UK, those kinds of nations where people want what they want 24/7. This is the kind of behaviours that it drives.
There are pros and cons to it, because it does mean that we have what we want when we want it.
Yeah.
But there's also like some cons. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. But for now, let's just go through a couple of the things that are in season at the moment, whether we like them, whether we don't like them, what our autumn's going to look like. Because if we decide to eat seasonally this month, I don't know, I think I'd be all right. Like,
I do tend to have like more of certain things during certain periods of time. I try to be as seasonal as with my palate will allow me to be. Yeah.
So things I've really been enjoying that are in season at the moment, or just go through the list. So aubergine is in season at the moment. Our American listeners will know that as eggplant.
Yeah.
I'm remembering right now the aubergine that I bought the other day. I was like, these are firm. I like this. Like fresh, crisp.
The colour
when
was looking good.
Sometimes you slice the aubergine, the skin is a bit rubbery.
Yes.
It wasn't like that, like clean slice. And now I'm like, it's because it's in season. I love me some aubergine. Apples.
Yeah, I eat apples all year round.
I think apples, certain varieties of apple will be in season all year round.
Because that pink lady comes from New Zealand, isn't it, or something? So
there's trademarked.
Yeah, exactly.
Breed of apple.
I think I mentioned it on the fruits episode about the amount of apple varieties that we have in the UK. So you can definitely check that out at sonderandsalt.com. An episode all about fruits.
Beetroot?
Yeah, I love beetroot. I love beetroot juice. I do like the earthiness of beetroot juice. So I will start to have more beetroot juice. I actually said it to you the other day when I was going through that time of the month. And I was like, do you know what? I need some beetroot because it's so rich in iron.
Yeah.
It's really good for you. I love it roasted. My mum loves roasted beetroot.
My dad loves roasted
Love
beetroot.
it. I actually had a really good beetroot salad the other day at Radio Rooftop. Beetroot, goat's cheese, pumpkin seeds. I know you're probably not a goat's cheese person, but it was absolutely banging. I love that kind of salad. Yeah, that's typically how I have it. Roasted and eaten cold or pickled. I love pickled beetroots.
I'm new to beetroot. I'm actually new to beetroot this year.
I remember you said you didn't like it.
Yeah, since my like juicing journey started.
It tastes like that.
It does. Well, I'm over it now. My palate has matured. Because I used to be the kind of person that would pick out the beetroot strands for a bistro salad.
Oh, God.
You know, grated beetroot.
Yeah,
like
they didn't
salad.
even really taste like anything.
I know, but I would just, as a child, you're just like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't care how it comes. Get it out.
Okay.
But I wasn't allowed to throw tantrums like that.
Yeah.
So I would just eat around it, and then what would be left on my plate would be a small pile of beetroot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I do the same thing now with certain aspects I don't like, or I'm just not into them. Like the cherry tomatoes, for example.
Oh, yeah.
If you gave them to me, I'm not going to throw a tantrum.
We shared a salad for lunch.
Yeah, I don't dislike them. Like, oh my gosh, but I'm gonna work around them a little. Whereas now, I'm vibing with beetroot juice. I'm vibing-ish with roasted beetroot. However, you're absolutely correct in how it usually comes when you were out. So I've only roasted it at home and enjoyed it. I don't know if it's coming out with feta and goat's cheese and all them.
Yeah, it is usually like in some kind of salad,
but
as opposed to on its own.
Roasted with some olive oil and some good salt.
Yeah.
Maybe some oregano. Little something like that.
Lovely.
Love the sound of that. Apparently blueberries are in season, or maybe still in season. This might be the end of their season.
Okay.
But I would say that berries, as soon as the sun goes,
That's what I was going to say.
I'm like,
that's it then.
That's it, they're finished.
Yeah, that's it then.
They're finished. Broccoli.
That's a year-round thing for me. I don't know too much about the seasonality of broccoli, but I eat broccoli in abundance. What I do like, though, is purple sprout and broccoli, which I believe is in season towards the earlier part.
Purple sprout and money?
Well, you know.
You got tender stem money?
Right now, yeah. I'll ride it for as long as it lasts. But like, I think not tender stem, purple sprout and broccoli is like April, May type of times.
Yeah.
I see it in my Sainsbury's only certain times of the year.
Yeah.
And I love purple sprout and broccoli.
I can't afford anything other than regular broccoli.
Tender stem is expensive.
This moment.
Yeah.
We have an episode slated about price changes. We did a little one end of season 1. Savvy shopping habit.
Yes, we did. We're at the beginning of the cost of living crisis when we said it wasn't affecting us.
Well, that's when we thought it was the beginning. We didn't even know that wasn't even the beginning.
It's true. That was the beginning of our
awareness.
Acknowledgement.
Our awareness. So we are due an upgrade on that episode. So we will touch back on the price of broccoli these days.
Yeah.
Things that you would expect to be in season just due to the autumn aesthetic. Butternut squash.
I love a butternut squash. I love
Pumpkin,
it roasted.
Yeah.
Butternut squash, I definitely see that a lot around this time of year, and I eat it way more. I go into my roasted veg bag at this time of the year, and butternut squash with some like garlic roasted as well, a good olive oil, smoked salt, and ground mixed peppercorns. Yeah, if you have that, absolutely fantastic.
I might add that to my Tesco order for tomorrow.
It is so good, and like when you roast it in a good olive oil, it almost caramelizes.
So my question, we
Yeah.
don't often talk cooking because we don't really like to cook. Maybe the seasons have changed us.
Maybe.
I like to completely top and tail the butternut to get that hard. It's got a very hard stem on it.
Yeah.
If you're cooking with butternut squash and you haven't cooked with it before, by the way, disclaimer, it's very hard to cut.
You need a good chopping board.
Good chopping board and a good sharp knife. We know people often try stuff that they hear on the podcast for the first time, so I don't want you to go into this blindly. It's quite difficult to cut. But I like to just cut it completely in half, like top to tail, salt and olive oil, what you're saying, and then roast it whole.
Oh, okay.
Like flat side down. Not always, but I like to do that. And then I'll let it cool for a bit. And then just kind of scoop chunks of it out.
Oh, no. That's not the way I like it.
Well, this was gonna say. Well, my dad used to do it. He used to peel the whole thing and then roast it so it's in little squares. And then there's a recipe that I think I've wanted to try for years, and it's like a butternut squash risotto.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say ravioli, because I know that's two ways that people like to use butternut
squash. But there's just a few ways you can prepare it. So what's your preference of preparing it?
I like it sliced, semi-thick, like almost like slices or wedges.
Yeah.
So that they can like
little crescent moves.
So the meat of the meat of the butternut squash is resting in the olive oil and it's seasoned.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that almost caramelizes.
Yes,
so I get I don't know if you guys have heard me on this podcast say it before, but I say it a lot on my Instagram, crispy bits.
Oh, yeah.
I love crispy bits.
I love crispy bits.
So when I roast it like that, there's loads of points where it can get crispy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I like my food. I like to maximize the crispiness in my food.
Area.
Yeah, as much as possible. I like to have it alongside the Romanesco broccoli. Oh,
broccoli?
Well, that's what they say. Romanesco, like cauliflower.
Yeah.
Some people say cauliflower broccoli when I see it online. I love that because that's got the nuttiness, and then the butternut squash is a bit sweet. I've literally, last winter I think it was, I've literally had like trays full of just that and just eaten that for dinner.
I love vegetables, so I haven't had a Romanesco broccoli in ages, because they sell them in the good Sainsbury's with the leaves on as well. I just quickly googled it to see if it was a broccoli or a cauliflower, and it says Romanesco is actually a cousin of cauliflower, which makes sense because broccoli and cauliflower are cousins anyway. So
it's a brassica, I can't remember what you call them, but it's from that family and they're all from the same family, like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli,
brassica oleracea.
Yeah.
I'm not good with big words. I'm just a baby. Butternut squash. In that same family then, to jump down the alphabet a little. Pumpkin? Are you a pumpkin babe?
I am, as a person of Jamaican descent.
You're Jamaican?
Yeah. I do love a pumpkin, especially like in soup.
Yeah.
So I'm used to that, or like just hard food, like boiled ground provisions. Sometimes you'll get like a wedge of pumpkin in that. I like that when I've got a bit of boiled dumpling, yam, green banana. I do like it. For the early part of my life, I could not stand pumpkin.
I'm the same.
Didn't like it at all. But now, give me a good piece of pumpkin. Oh,
butternut squash I've always vibed with though from the very beginning.
Yeah,
but maybe I wasn't as
a bit
young.
Sweeter. Pumpkin is more pungent in its savouriness, I find.
Over the last few years, I've actually I go pumpkin picking.
Oh really? Oh yeah, I saw you did it last year on your Instagram.
I'll actually take you, unlike all the restaurants that you don't want to take me to. And then I've gone and particularly bought good looking ones because why not? But I've gone with a little chart, because if you go to a pumpkin patch that's quite popular, people will be going there to buy pumpkins for like Halloween and stuff. But they grow there. It's a genuine farm. Yeah. So I got a variety of pumpkins last year and made batches of pumpkin soup, because they're a root vegetable. They just keep just keep them in a cool, dry place. They kept for a while.
My dad grew pumpkins one year. He grew them in his garden. My dad loves to grow stuff in his garden. My mum's grown
squashes. Yeah, I don't know if she's grown pumpkins.
I don't know if I told you guys before, when one summer we were growing stuff in my garden and we cross-pollinated
a hybrid.
The courgette. Yeah, and it was a cross between a pumpkin and a courgette.
Oh,
both in season. That's probably why they were growing at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Pumpkin. How are you with other squashes? Like the green ones, the striped ones.
I'll eat them, but it's not something I typically buy.
Marrow.
It's not something I really buy. It's quite fibrous, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, not really my thing.
Okay, back to our alphabet list.
Yeah.
Cabbage.
Yeah, I love cabbage. I love sautéed cabbage.
I love a grilled wedge.
Yeah, I love that. What I like to do... do you know what? I like crispy cabbage, but I find sometimes in restaurants they just do too much with it. Oh. I don't. You see, like crispy cabbage with like soy or like sesame,
miso.
No, miso. No. It's not a bit of me.
I like it.
I just like crispy cabbage, salt and pepper, and olive oil. I'm very much I love simple vegetables. Yeah, I love vegetables. So I will always kind of go to garlic, oil, salt, black pepper, or ground mixed peppercorns. That is it for me. That is it for me. But no, cabbage, sautéed cabbage I love, and the pointed cabbage, that is my favourite one.
Oh, I know the one. It's kind of like heart leaf, like...
Yeah, and it goes up into a point. It's pointed cabbage. That's my favourite one.
Oh, okay. Cauliflower we just touched on. Carrots we've obviously mentioned. Yeah, the carrots right now.
I like the long skinny ones.
See, I like the chunky boys.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I like the fancy ones, and it comes in it's like purple, orange, yellow.
You know what? I love those at Christmas.
Yeah.
Because I like it when I do my maple roasted carrots and then I lay them all like evenly.
Like in a gradient.
Not even just in a gradient, but just like the whole carrot takes up the exact width of the carrot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like a nice tray of carrots. I do like those.
I love a skinny sweet carrot, but I think carrots is definitely one thing that when they are in season or when there's a good carrot, you can taste it. Oh my gosh, you can taste it.
Carrots is one vegetable around dinner table, especially my parents will be like, oh, that carrot tastes like a carrot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good tasting carrot.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before when I went to Decimo. Did I talk about this before?
I don't know.
Don't know, but Decimo in King's Cross, it's a Mexican
We were supposed to go there for tequila, weren't we?
We were, but they're not open on Mondays, so we will definitely go maybe towards the end of the year. They do a lot of like grilled vegetables. They've got these sand carrots that I don't know how they cook them, and I think they're steeped in like orange juice or something. Oh my goodness. I still think about those carrots to this day. It was the sweetest carrot. Oh my gosh, it was so good. That reaffirmed for me like, no, a good carrot is different from just carrot for the sake of carrot. Yeah,
I do love me some carrots. Like I said, maple roasted like carrots, but most of the time I had roasted carrot last night. I've got roasted carrot left over in the fridge for dinner tonight. I love carrot, and also it cooks so nicely. Like it's something. I'm a lazy. I will talk about this in a bit, but seasonal cooking for me is very much one pot. Yeah. What I had last night was a one pot.
What did you have last night, Harley?
Don't worry about it. Malaka. It had carrots in it.
Yeah.
But there's a large cooking radius for roasting vegetables. Put it in for 45 minutes to an hour. It's not something you got to stand and watch. Yeah. And like you said, it will start to caramelize. Or you can have it slightly under if you want. Like if you're a crunchy carrot kind of person. Are you a raw carrot gal? Are you a crudités?
I don't really have crudités because it encourages me to have a lot of dip. Like a lot. So I'm very much the type of person that it is a vehicle for the dip. Yeah, that is it. So if it's like crudités and hummus, I'm wiping out I want it loaded. Yeah, I want it loaded. So I don't really have crudités too much.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not a raw carrot kind of gal. I can have a al dente carrot.
Yeah. But it's got to have a bit of crunch.
It's got to be warm. Like
it's got to have a bit of crunch.
Or it can be cold if it's in roast. I don't know. I'm not a raw carrot kind of gal.
Okay.
Celery. I put celery in my food repertoire with beetroot because I don't love it. I don't hate it. But I like it for what it does and how it makes me feel. Like, I love celery juice.
I think that's my association with celery.
Yeah.
If I think about the pure taste of celery, I acknowledge that it's not that palatable.
Yeah.
But how it makes me feel, and I know what it's doing to me in my brain, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
More. Yeah, fantastic.
Celery juice with a little bit of lime in it, a little bit of mint even. Just mostly celery, though. 99% celery is my bag these days. When my mum sees me doing these celery juice and these beetroot juices, she's like, who are you? Because my whole you still probably couldn't catch me like cruditéing a celery or raw carrot. But the flavour, I'm actually good with the flavour these days. Like I'm actually fine with the taste of celery. I think my introduction to understanding that celery was more than raw sticks was
to serve with hot wings.
No, God, that's my even worse nightmare. It was actually following recipes and using it like in ragouts and using it in sauces. And now I think when I first started to proper cook with recipes, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm just gonna do it. And then I was like, oh, I get it. Like it's done something. Yeah. It doesn't taste like celery out the packet. I can rock with this. So celery, that's my mate.
Okay, I like celery juice. Courgettes as well. Courgettes is similar to like a squash. It's a squash, right? Yeah, I love courgettes. Obviously, I said I've been having courgettes a lot in my highlight. I love to have them sauteed. I could eat courgettes any old way. I love it sauteed again with like olive oil. I like it. I don't really like it roasted because it does get a bit soft. I love it in soup. A good courgette soup.
Really?
Yeah, with basil. And like,
do you keep the skin in?
I do. What I like to do with my pureed soups, because obviously I have like Jamaican soups, which is full of hard food and stuff, and then I have
in liquid.
In a broth almost, and then I like to have pureed soups. I've mentioned it before. In the pandemic, I wrote a book called 7, and it was like juices and soups, and there's a courgette soup recipe in there. Oh, so good.
Limited numbers of 7 by Malika Miles will be for sale at An Evening with Sonder and Salt.
Yes, it will be. I might even
sign by the author.
Yeah. might even sign it for you.
Signed by the author.
If I'm feeling a little bit saucy, do you know what I mean? But no, courgette soup, absolutely love it. It's really and
Oh,
it's
so
and
I've
it's
got
a
the
nice
recipe then.
yeah, and
Because
it's a
I've got
nice it's actually regarded as like a summer soup or a late summer soup as well because
Okay.
it's light, so
Okay.
I really like it. And then sometimes I have courgettes like grated into my omelette. I really like that.
Okay, I might give that a go.
Yeah, it adds a bit of texture.
Yeah. I only ever go for courgette when I know I'm doing a tray of roasted veg. Because
Oh,
I'll
okay.
stab it on the fork with something I like more than
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I'll stab a carrot, then stab courgette just to get courgette in my body.
Yeah.
I'm trying to increase the amount of I eat all of these vegetables, but I'm trying to increase the variety of veg I eat on a weekly basis. So the podcast I listen to called The Gut Life, it's by Stylist Magazine, but the episode I listened to was with Sharan Bijlani, who is a nutritionist and listens to the podcast. So hey girl.
Hey.
And she was talking about the number of number of vegetables and portions that we should be eating throughout the day and throughout the week. So I'm not really counting, but I'm just trying to be mindful when I shop to make sure I've bought like less bags of carrots, but more like, okay, 2 carrots so that I can also buy an aubergine and also buy broccoli.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm eating a range of different fruits and veg every week. So courgette is something that I buy knowing that I'm doing a sheet tray of veg so that it's in there, so that there's variety. But it's not something that I venture out to be like, oh, a courgette recipe or like how I like to eat courgette.
I love courgettes in restaurants when it's like battered, like zucchini fries, that kind of thing.
But isn't that courgette flowers?
No, sometimes you get like
Actual
bits of like all like it's cut into sticks
Yeah, you're
and
right.
stuff. So or like wedges, and I love that.
Did we have that at
Norma,
Apothecary?
maybe.
I think we had tempura, some kind of vegetable tempura courgette.
Yeah, I love that.
I do enjoy that. Cucumbers are also in season at this time of the year. Maybe they're towards the end of season because I feel like we've had is cucumber summery.
I thought so. Maybe it's just some things cross over seasons. I eat cucumbers a lot. I love baby cucumbers specifically.
Yeah.
I just find them more crunchy. They've got a better texture and they've got less water. But I love cucumbers as a basis of juice as well.
This might be a stupid question.
Yeah.
Is a baby cucumber genuinely a baby cucumber, or is it
a variety
of cucumber that only grows that big?
I actually don't know, sweetheart, because there's certain regions in the world where if you're making like a Persian style salad, or if you go to like I think it's like a Turkish grocery shop, they have specific types of cucumbers.
Yeah, for tzatziki.
Yeah, and they are skinnier, they've got less water content, and they tend to be smaller. In Jamaica, they've got cucumbers that look almost like they're in the middle of cucumbers and courgettes.
I've seen those,
I'm not a fan of those cucumbers because the seeds just look too big.
Have you ever had a cucamelon?
I'm not sure, actually.
It's like a...
the little round... Yeah, I haven't had it, I don't
melon
think. Is
cucumber.
it nice?
I've not had it. I just remember
I've had it.
variety
No.
cucumber.
Is that the thing that apparently tastes like watermelon rind?
Apparently, because it looks like a baby watermelon.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, that was just my random question of the day. So you love baby cucumbers?
Yeah,
you have them with your breakfast on Instagram a lot.
Yeah, I do. I cut them into like little sticks. I just love the it's purely textural for me because one day I sat down and I was like, what does a cucumber actually taste like? And it kind of tastes like there's something in the water. That is what a cucumber, like texture and something in the water, because cucumbers are like 70 to 90% water or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the statistic is, but really good for hydration. But no, I love baby cucumbers. I love them. I buy them every single week.
One of my favorite girl dinners or girl dinner accompaniments is cucumber, either with chili oil on it and like make a kind of...
Yeah, you do that a lot.
Like a smashed cucumber, but speedy, because I ain't got time to soak things in vinegar.
Yeah.
Or cucumber, lemon and salt.
I don't think I've had that before.
Oh, cucumber, lemon and salt is but it's so refreshing. Like, it is so refreshing because I've done cucumber, lemon and salt where I've just bought the cucumber and like come in and prepared it, and I've been like, oh, it's not gonna hit because it's not cold, but it hits.
Yeah. I've never tried that before. I might try. Is that flake salt or what?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a try. Yeah.
I think fine salt would probably be...
I feel like the way it hits the tongue and stuff is just different. Yeah.
Also, I think because salt draws out water, if you like the way of making proper smacked cucumber is that you salt the cucumbers for a while to draw out some of the water.
Okay.
So I feel like if you finally salted cucumber as a snack, you'd end up with a bowl of water quite quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, cucumbers.
Okay.
Cucumbers is vibes.
Yeah.
Jumping on the list a little, garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I can't imagine a season
Yeah.
without garlic.
Is it one of those things that is just on every month that it's just there?
Well,
every
I'm just
single month?
wondering now.
Or every single season?
I think garlic might be something moving forward that I really do read the label of where is the garlic coming from, and start to make a note of, does this garlic taste better than last month's?
Yeah.
Does this garlic taste better than last season's or the previous country that it came from? Because there's definitely times when you open your garlic and the cloves are tiny.
Yeah.
And you're like,
It's
what
pointless.
is
That is
this?
so
You got to
annoying.
peel
And then
about 5 or 6 of them.
And then there's sometimes where 2 chunky cloves will get you. Yeah.
And there's also times of the year, or maybe just, I don't know, times when I noticed, you can buy like giant, large garlic. But that garlic doesn't necessarily hit. Like it's a large clove, but it's
full of
not
water.
Yeah, it's not very pungent. So garlic, I'm gonna keep my eye on.
I actually don't know. That's a good point.
I'm gonna keep my eye on garlic. Another staple that just always seems to be available is potatoes.
Yeah, potatoes. I thought potatoes was something that grew all year round.
I feel like I know they're seasonal because potatoes grow underground. My mom's grown potatoes before, so I know that you leave them dormant like for a long time, and then you harvest them after the ground has thawed, I think, because there's a point of the year where you can't turn the ground in the UK
Okay.
because it's frozen solid.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I feel like maybe they just have a really long season.
Maybe, or maybe it's how they harvest the potatoes and then they might store them in a particular way, because at home I feel like they go off so quickly.
They do.
Yeah, they start to grow so quickly, and once potatoes start growing, you're not meant to eat them.
So the best time to harvest potatoes, apparently, the main crop. This is your full-size potato crop. Remember, there are so many varieties of potato as well. So they should be planted around mid-April and left for a longer growing period for about 15 to 20 weeks. And then they should be ready to harvest around mid-September. For your main crop, this is when they are
This is a good time.
at their best.
Do you know what's funny? My brother just pulled potatoes up out of our garden.
Really?
Literally 2 days ago.
There you
He's
go.
like, there's potatoes out there. I was like, how do you know? He's like, it's that time. I was like, oh, okay. I just remembered right now I made mashed potatoes.
Your father's son right there.
Literally, yeah.
The first early variety should be ready in June and July, and then second earlies in July and August, and the main crop varieties from late August through to October.
Yeah.
And that's from RHS, which is the Royal Horticultural Society UK.
The good thing about potatoes is they're low maintenance as well.
Yeah,
So
you
when
leave
you
them.
use your when you peel potatoes and you got your potato skin, if you have access to gardening facilities, if you just throw them out there and just like kind of turn the soil, you will probably be able to dig up a few potatoes in 15 to 20 weeks time. That's what we do.
What we have done in the past is plant the potatoes that sprout in the cupboard.
Oh yeah, we do that too. Yeah, we do that.
If they
too.
start to sprout, my mum's definitely planted some of those. But she's had issues where she's accidentally either like reused soil or something, but ended up with like potatoes in pots.
Oh, okay.
And then when they grow and they split the pot.
They're a weed, aren't they?
I don't know if they're a weed, but she's
or they
grown,
have like weed tendencies.
She's definitely like ended up with potatoes where she didn't expect them to be, because she's like, hang on a second, something in there is expanding.
Yeah.
And I need to find out what it is, and it's in potatoes. And we've definitely had baby potatoes and stuff before, so that's interesting.
And the last one that we'll touch on is sweet corn. There are others on the list. This is not an exhaustive list. So if you're signed up to our newsletter, we will definitely send it out and share with you the products in the UK. If you're outside the UK, you might just want to know. If you're in the UK, it will be good for you to know when you're doing your shopping. We will share it to our mailing list subscribers. So go over to Sonder Salt and definitely sign up to the newsletter. But we're going to touch on some sweet corn because I love sweet corn. I love sweet corn. My dad loves sweet corn. He plants sweet corn every single year, and his 110%. My dad's sweet corn is the best sweet corn, and that's me. I'm not even speaking.
How many corns does he get?
Loads.
Really? Has he got like a pat, like a?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll actually share something on the story. I'll share like a video on the story. You'll see it. It looks almost. From the right angle, it looks like a field, but it is a good amount of sweet corn. We'll be eating sweet corn for weeks, and it's so sweet.
Who's we?
I'll bring you some because he's always got loads, and it's just so nice. I can eat like 3 cobs.
I love sweet corn.
I love sweet corn. Love sweet corn. And it's a really great source of fiber, insoluble fiber. Yeah. So people say that sweet corn has no nutritional value, but it has insoluble fiber, so it's really great for your digestive system. When you eat sweet corn, it's the kind of thing you can see come out the other end because your body can't digest it. Yeah, beetroot is really good. There's the beet test. Yeah. If you've ever had beetroot, the first time I had an abundance of beetroot, I thought I was dying. This is when I lived in America. I was all on my own, and I'd had like a beetroot salad at work, and I loved it, so I went back and had more. Completely forgot that I ate the beetroot. And woke up the next morning, used the bathroom, and I said, "Oh my God, like what is it? Bowel cancer?" Like I was genuinely concerned. And then I googled something, and it was like, check if you've eaten beetroot. And I was like, "Oh, I did. Yeah, everything's okay." So yeah, you can do a beet test to see the efficiency of your digestive system. Yeah. But no, sweet corn is a good way of getting fiber in your diet and improving your digestion. But I just love it for the taste. I love it grilled, like roasted. I love it boiled I love it with butter, but I don't need it. Like if it's a good sweet corn, I don't need it, but I do love it.
I will say
there
was a period of my life
you didn't like sweet corn.
No. There was a period of my life when I kind of didn't like sweet corn, because this is when, my dad's been a lot of things. Fruitarian, raw vegan, all kinds of things. But I've spoken before about our salt-free period of life. And Green Giant, which is like the main tinned veg brand in the UK. Main sweet corn brand for sure. They do like petit pois and green beans and other things as well. They started doing a salt-free can.
Yeah, salt and sugar-free, I think.
That was the can that was in my house for many years. And again, it's like we went off of the concept of salt-free. That did not last long at all. But it was kind of like the anti-MSG messaging. Once you start buying something that's like no salt or MSG free or whatever, you kind of just you just keep buying it. So we were buying it for ages, and I kind of started to go sweet corn because I was like, this doesn't really taste of anything. This has been stripped of all the goodness. But I didn't actually properly link it to being. I didn't think that thing that was missing was enhancement in that way. And I think when I was picking up groceries or whatever, I'll just buy the nonsense, just buy the one. Especially when I started to actually buy groceries, because I would buy groceries in places I could afford them, which was Lidl, when they only carried like the regular sweet corn. I'll be like, this one's hitting. This one?
And it's the salt.
The regular one? Yeah. Oh, the regular one's hitting. So
I love Green Giant. I used to eat, my mum would just open a tin and just put it on a saucer for me, and I would just eat sweet corn. I love sweet corn.
You saw a can in the kitchen earlier. I'm probably going to add that to my dinner tonight. And I always have half the tin, and I'm like, I'll just put that in the fridge. No.
I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
So those are our favourites of the season. Yeah. And some of the things and ways that we'll be enjoying them. But let's talk seasonal food as a whole. So I pulled a list of the 6 benefits of eating seasonal food from Holland & Barrett, which is a health food store here in the UK.
So I get all my supplements.
Where I get all my supplements from a Holland & Barrett customer, diehard. Yeah. And just going to whiz through these and just throw out a few questions, because I have some reservations about seasonal eating, and I'm going to voice them. Okay. I have a food podcast. First one being, it saves you money. This is because when you eat seasonally, local produce can be grown in natural conditions and easily transported to the point of sale, making it much more affordable. Yeah. I do think that is true when it comes to scale. I think we spoke about this recently. I shared the story of when it was Christmas and all the veg was like 16 pence per kilo. It was absolutely crazy. And I guess that's partly seasonal, partly buying patterns of the supermarkets and stuff.
I think in theory, if you are buying locally, then you will feel that price difference. For the most part in a supermarket, the pricing is kind of set with the knowledge that you've got a varied supplier base, and so the costing across the span of the year is going to even out to be X. So one supplier might be more expensive because they're further away, another supplier might be cheaper, and so the average cost of the product is X, and then the price is set accordingly, because when you go into a supermarket, the prices do not change. They don't vary according to the season. So most of us are shopping in supermarkets, therefore theoretically, no, because the supermarket has to have availability unless it's a seasonal product.
Theoretically, it doesn't save you money?
Theoretically, in the world that we live in now, I don't believe that it does, unless you are buying locally from a local provider that is only sourcing and selling seasonal goods, and they may be able to get this product slightly cheaper, but they won't have it all year round.
So I also I'm unsure whether this is true, because during the pandemic, I was shopping at my local farm shop, and it was extortionate. And I don't know. I don't think, maybe it was a pandemic thing, but the fruit and vegetable on the market in my local area now is cheap, but the product is not high quality.
Do you know what? I think I've got some shops near me where I think that the fruit quality and the vegetable quality is quite good, but it isn't any cheaper than me shopping at the supermarket, because in 2023, these supermarkets, they've got the scale.
Yeah.
They've got the scale. That's just the reality of the situation. So there's very few local retailers that will be able to provide you a better price point than a supermarket. But if you find the right one, you might be able to find better quality.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's point number 2, that it tastes better. So, as we've discussed, carrots do taste better. If they're harvested at the very best time, then the taste is maximised. And I think that is something that is true for fruit and veg in the UK. British strawberry season, for example, which we're now out of, but we know when it's happening.
They start to taste like water.
You know when it's coming in, and you know when it's leaving.
You can I think any product, because every food has a season. Well, not every. Some are actually able to be grown all year round, and just even in other countries, most of these products have got a season. Something like mango, you can taste.
Oh yeah, mango season
when it's in season. Like, you can grow decent ones all year round, but when it's in season, when the sun is hitting it and it's getting all of the things that it needs, the sweetness is heightened, everything else is heightened. So I think typically, even in the supermarket, what I buy in the supermarket, when it is in season, I can taste the difference than when they've gone to somewhere else.
Yeah, but it's just whether or not you went and bought it because it was in season, or whether you just happened to buy it in season and realised that it tasted better.
Do you know what? The indicator for me was tomatoes. I know when tomatoes are in season.
So that's what I wrote down as well. Tomato season, blood orange season, even asparagus season.
Yeah.
You can tell when asparagus is absolutely hitting.
But we get tomatoes all year round in the UK. They'll source them from other places. I don't eat them all year round though. I don't. Well, I will, for breakfast, have many, like, baby cherry tomatoes. There isn't really a time where I won't have them.
Okay.
But I can taste, like, the big tomatoes. I won't have those all year round, because those little round salad tomatoes, it's pure texture, no taste. Yeah.
Point 3 on the Honda merit list is that it's healthier. So they've said it's no surprise that being locked in cargo holds and shipping containers for days in order to reach us does nothing for the nutritional content. Is that always true? Because I found an article from The Guardian, and I think I've spoken about this before, about the tin tomato thing.
Yeah.
And there are other examples too, but generally frozen fruit and veg or tinned at source fruit and veg have nutrient value.
Oh, you spoke about this.
Yeah.
What episode was that?
I can't remember. I feel I've spoken about it a few times, but the point being that you can eat out of season if you capture in season. Like, there are these people on TikTok that I fall into, like homestead families that grow everything they eat, or just generally there's a canning community that like collects, they either grow one thing on their land and then trade it with other families and stuff, but they can and preserve all their things that they eat for the rest of the year, so they preserve in the right season. And I think you've spoken before about buying Scotch bonnets at their best and then putting them in the freezer, like loads of them. So I think it's healthier if you're only eating fresh fruit and veg all year round to eat what's in season. But if you lean into methods of preservation, then I think that you can eat healthy food. Like, it's not to say that if you're eating food out that's not seasonal, that it's not as healthy. Canned tomatoes have 3 times the amount of calcium and iron than fresh ones.
Why is that? Do you know? When they say like 3 times more than fresh ones, is that if I picked a fresh one from my garden, is that just like in the truest sense, or it's because of the supply chain of a tomato means that by the time it typically gets to you, it's probably more healthy to have tinned tomato? I feel like that's the conversation that's being had through supply chain versus like, if you followed both of the tomatoes to get to the supermarket where you buy both, what is the journey? But tomatoes are the best source of the carotenoid pigment lycopene or lycopene, and some studies suggest that it can help prevent prostate, lung and stomach cancers. This is all obviously like, do your own research. It's a lot of it in the skin apparently. I was talking with my dad about this.
Not health advice.
The other day, but apparently it's in the skin, and it's controversial. Some people say that it's not good. Some people say that it's good, but apparently if you cook it, it's supposed to be better. But tomato is a fruit anyway. Although we all know that because it's one of those ones that people always talk about.
It's like a fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact. We'll come back to that. But yeah, just the questions that need answering. Point 4 is that it supports local producers. I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Like eating local, shopping local, supporting local farmers. Supporting all farmers.
Yeah.
Because there was a big thing, I think, last summer. To be honest, it may be ongoing. I'm just not as aware of it. But the farmers in India were striking over their pay and the working conditions that they have there. So it's support all farmers.
Yeah, even in the UK,
Egg farmers
the farming
as well.
industry. Yeah, about eggs. And how the treatment of the farmers was driving up the prices.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Point number 5 is that it's better for the planet, which I think, again, we can all agree, import and export of food through planes, just generally any kind of cargo and transport.
Emissions and all of that.
By the time you eat your banana, it's got some miles on it, baby.
Yeah.
It's got some miles on it because they do not grow bananas here.
Yeah, they don't. And the thing is, because freshness and quality are still indicators for consumers that these supermarkets are aware of, a lot of these things are like air freighted to get here as soon as possible. Yeah. So it's got miles on it, but it doesn't necessarily have days on it. It could very well be like 1 to 2 days old only to get here. So some of these supply chains are quite short, but the cost implication of that on the planet financially, blah blah blah.
It's 25 degrees in September, guys.
Listen,
that's what we're saying.
The thing is, we're saying all of this. It's no judgment.
No, it's not.
I shop and I buy
what I
some
want.
Of these things. Yeah, I do. I have to be honest.
Well, point 6 is basically variety. So variety is the spice of life. And a lot of the real seasonal eaters forage.
Yeah.
And that adds to what I said about nutrition and getting a range of stuff in season. Might just be very small doses of a particular mushroom and a herb. Like herbs also count towards your variety of veg per week.
Okay.
Fresh is preferred, but dried also is fine. Like you use your preservation methods to be able to get things in your diet. That's great.
Okay.
How to eat more seasonally. Like we said, no judgment. We're not really doing it. So this is advice that we can also take.
Speak for yourself. Nah, I could do better.
All advice points to visit your local farmer's market.
Yeah.
At this point, I would like to raise that there is an event coming up. It's coming up very soon. So I hope you listen to this episode now. On Sunday, the 8th of October, there is the Black Farmers Market. And it is at Brixton Station Road, SW9. And we're going to share this on our Instagram stories, like when you're hearing this and in the run up to it. So if you see this and you're like, what the hell's going on? What are they talking about? Talking about the Black Farmers Market, which is being run from 10 till 4 with fresh produce, locally grown, pesticide free, obviously supporting artisan Black businesses. I also believe they're raising money for certain charities and certain awarenesses for certain charities within the Black and brown communities. So things like sickle cell, or just generally like getting people on the blood donor register. I think they've got a pop-up for if you want to be able to donate blood that day or put yourself on the bone marrow transplant list. So this is a major plug to that. It doesn't run all the time. This is kind of a seasonal event, literally. Yeah. There was one last month and the next one is on the 8th of October. So if you hear this and you're able to support, please go down and support the Black Farmers Market.
In London.
In London at Brixton Station Road. We will link it below, but also we will be sharing it on our socials.
Yeah.
That is a way that you can enjoy seasonal veg from these farmers.
Yeah.
However, all the advice points to support your local farmers market. However, I don't have a local farmers market. And this was making me think about accessibility.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the mission, like I'm seeing a train of thought here, which is in order to save the planet, to lower the carbon emissions of your food, you need to eat more locally. In order to eat more locally, you need to support the farmers. In order to support the farmers, you have to shop at the farmers markets. But I live in a very urban area. There's no farmers market. There isn't one.
Yeah.
And when I actually looked up local farmers markets to me, I couldn't help but notice that there was a condensation of farmers markets in the affluent and gentrified areas.
Well, would you look at that?
And I've been to farmers markets. I like a farmers market. I even like to shop at Borough Market, which is
I love Borough Market.
It's not a farmers market, but it is a
fresh produce
market.
Yeah.
it's more expensive. It is more
It is
expensive
more
to support
expensive.
local farmers and local
Yeah.
produce. So I think there's an accessibility issue here with that's the method, or that's the
Yeah.
advice, is that point number one of all of these things, how to eat more seasonally, comes down to shopping at local farmers markets. I think that's not true. As you pointed out, the supermarkets will merchandise the store around seasonal goods because that's when they're getting the best price for them too. They want you to buy them. So I just want to throw my 2 cents in there about that. I don't think it's the best advice to have to go and seek out farmers markets. I think there are more accessible ways in which you can do that.
I think the first step of eating more seasonally is being aware that you can eat seasonally. And then from there, checking what is in season when. Also thinking about the foods that you already enjoy. When is the peak season for this food? And when it's not in season, what else could I eat during this time to kind of help me to eat more seasonally?
Yeah.
And then that can help inform your shopping habits, and maybe where you have access to, where you're able to shop, you can see what they have on offer during these seasons. I think the positioning of farmers markets being the answer, it's rooted in idealism, because like you said, you live in an urban area. I live in an urban area, which is on the cusp of like the countryside.
Yeah.
So we do get farmers markets sometimes, or they're not too far away from me. However, do I always have the time to go to a farmer's market? No. We're kind of built as a society around the convenience of supermarkets. Yeah. And so I would say figure out what seasonal eating looks like for you in terms of your current palate. See what else is going on during certain seasons. See what you're willing to try.
Yeah.
And then just start shopping in that way.
Yeah.
As opposed to go into places and seeing what they have. The information is there. We've shared some on this podcast episode. We'll share some on the mailing list.
Yeah.
And there's loads of resources online if you just type in what is in season.
And I think one of the most important things about eating seasonally, or eating full stop, is that you enjoy it. So if none of the seasonal foods are things that you want to eat, and it's going to put you off eating seasonally to have to eat these foods, don't eat them. Don't eat them. I did a couple polls on Instagram and asked if people in 24-degree weather today are ready for their cozy seasonal foods, or if they're hanging on to summer light meals. 60% of people said that they're ready. It's time for cozy food. Time to move on. Were you one of those people?
I can't remember what I voted.
I think you voted salads, actually, or like lighter meals.
Yes, because that's the vibes I'm on right now. So I will even have winter salads. That's the thing.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I love in a winter salad? Dried cranberries. Dried cranberries and roasted pecans.
Nah, not necessarily.
Okay, but anyway. The other poll I ran was just asking our audience, do you think you eat seasonally? And 36% of people said yes, they eat with seasons, and 64% said I eat what I want when I want. So
that's kind of how we've been encouraged as a society. It's a chicken and egg situation. It's like, was this driven by consumer habits and supermarkets responded maybe, or did supermarkets encourage us by trying to be that person where you will do all your shopping? So I'm going to give you all the range that I can give you all year round. And so it's kind of a closed loop. People want what they want when they want it. And supermarkets continue to encourage those behaviours by keeping those things on the shelves. So
I'm definitely a bit of both, because I would say I'm quite a emotional eater. So I want those cozier meals when the temperature drops a little. When the temperature drops a little, when I want those soups, those risottos, those raviolis, those pumpkin, those very filling, and I don't want to cook days. The thing with lighter meals is that you got to prepare them fresh a lot. A good batch cook. When you've had a long dark grey day. Oh yeah, that's what I love. That's my favorite switch of season. Doesn't matter what it is, but just a good batch cook is a good seasonal thing for me. There will be a poll on this episode regarding seasonal eating, and maybe a little pop quiz on if you've listened to everything in this episode. So swipe all the way to the bottom if you're listening to this on Spotify. That's where the polls are. If not, we will also run them on Instagram if you are following us over there. Do not forget to support the Black Farmers Market if you're able to. We will have the details on... Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I'm getting tired.
Shutting down.
Do not forget to support the Black Farmers Market if you're able to on the 10th of October. We will have that linked in the show notes of this episode. And if you want to come down to our event, and there are still tickets when you hear this, then please, we cannot wait to see you. We are absolutely buzzing. Thank you so much for listening to this. And we will catch you next one.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.